The Knicks are now too. And the Knicks didn't play a perfect game tonight, but statistically, they didn't need to. They just needed a monster second quarter, strong rebounding, solid defense, and consistent contributions across the board. And that's exactly what they got in their 105-95 win over Boston. It wasn't a blowout from start to finish, but the numbers say this team dominated where it mattered. New York shot just 38.4% from the field. That's not typically what you want in a win against a top-tier opponent. But when you grab 53 rebounds, force 10 turnovers, and shoot 88% from the line on 25 attempts, the margins start tilting in your favor fast. The Knicks hit 37.8% from three, and while their overall field goal percentage dipped, their efficiency came from the timing and balance of those makes. The starting unit accounted for 90 points. That's right, 90 of the 105 came from the starters, and most of it came from Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns, who combined for 57 points. Brunson dropped 31 on 10 for 20 shooting, adding 3 rebounds and 5 assists. Towns poured in 26 points, grabbed 13 boards, and dished out 3 assists, while also hitting 4 of 6 from deep and converting 10 of 12 free throws. When your top 2 guys combine for that kind of production, it creates space for everyone else to operate. But it wasn't just a 2-man show. Bridges quietly put together one of the most efficient lines of the night. 12 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 2 threes, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, and a team best plus 15. He wasn't the flashiest player on the floor, but he kept the offense balanced and made sure possessions didn't stall. He also helped limit Boston's perimeter rhythm, which kept them from ever catching fire. The Knicks had 23 assists on 33 made shots. That's nearly 70% of their field goals coming from ball movement, not isolation. Even though they didn't shoot well overall, they worked through their sets and kept finding quality looks. Miles McBride added 10 points, and while he only hit 3 of his 11 attempts and 2 of 9 from deep, he played tough minutes and made both of his free throws. His 4 rebounds and 4 assists helped round out the stat line, and he finished with a +3 on the night. OG had a cold shooting night, just 3 of 10 overall, but still managed to chip in 10 points, hit both of his free throws, and grab 2 rebounds. He added 2 assists and 2 steals, playing a full 2-way role before exiting in the 4th after landing awkwardly. Even before the injury, he played 29 high-impact minutes and finished with a +10. That's how you stay relevant, even when the shot isn't falling. Defensively, the Knicks held Boston to 40, 2.7% shooting, and 34.1% from deep. They forced 10 turnovers and only gave up 8 offensive boards. That rebounding number is key. The Knicks had 21 offensive rebounds themselves, more than 2.5 times what Boston managed. That's a massive possession advantage. Those extra chances kept pressure on Boston's defense and helped offset the poor shooting percentage. Josh Hart came off the bench like he was mad at the ball. In just 19 minutes, he grabbed 14 rebounds. That led all players. Even Towns, 6 of those were offensive. And even though he shot 1 for 8 from the field, he found ways to help the team win possessions over and over again. His effort kept the tempo up, especially during second unit minutes. He added 3 assists, and while he ended with a -2, the rebounds alone kept the Celtics from building any run while the starters sat. By the way, if you guys enjoy these deep dives, I'll be posting every day. I'd genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks. Anyways, the Knicks bench wasn't flashy, but they were effective. The non-Hart bench players combined for 14 points on 22 minutes each, give or take. Jordan Clarkson gave them 6 points, hit 2 of 4 from deep, and dished 3 assists in 16 minutes. His +12 shows he made an impact in limited time, especially when paired with bench-heavy lineups. Landry Shamet, Guershon Yabusele, and Tyler Kolek each chipped in a few points and rebounds. Shamet hit a 3, Yabusele added 5 boards, and Kolek finished with 4 assists in just 13 minutes. They didn't light up the box score, but each guy played their role, avoided mistakes, and moved the ball. Even with their shooting woes, the Knicks won because of how they controlled the pace and possessions. They forced Boston into 29 missed 3-pointers. That's 29 defensive rebounds or runouts waiting to happen. And they only allowed 8 offensive rebounds all night, which meant Boston didn't get many second chances. Combine that with 7 steals and 4 blocks, and the Knicks defense did exactly what it needed to do. The second quarter will be what people remember, and rightfully so. A 42-14 advantage in 12 minutes turned the game upside down. Boston opened with a 30-22 lead after 1. Then came the flip. The Knicks scored 11 straight. Boston answered with a couple threes, to make it 36-33. But then the Knicks rattled off 17 straight. From 36-33, it became 50-36. And they still weren't done. They closed the quarter with 12 unanswered points to finish the half up by 20. That's the kind of quarter that breaks a team's rhythm. New York's rebounding fueled transition. Their spacing opened up driving lanes, and Brunson took full control. Towns, meanwhile, made sure every trip down the floor had purpose. He got to the line, he hit open threes, and he cleaned the glass. Even with Boston trimming the lead in the third, the Knicks didn't collapse. Their third quarter was sloppy, no doubt, but they never completely lost grip. And when Boston tried to make one last push in the fourth, Brunson answered. A couple tough buckets from him put the lead back to double digits and ended any real comeback threat. What kept the Celtics from pulling off a rally wasn't just missed shots. It was the Knicks' ability to win the small battles. The 53 rebounds were spread out across the whole roster, with every starter grabbing at least 2 and the bench pulling in 17. They boxed out, crashed hard, and played like every possession mattered. That intensity translated to the free throw line too. They shot 25 free throws and made 22. Boston couldn't match that. Every missed chance widened the gap. On the plus-minus side, every starter finished in the positive. That's not always the case, even in wins. Bridges at plus 15, Brunson at plus 7, Towns at plus 6, OG at plus 10, and McBride at plus 3. Clarkson's plus 12 and Yabusele's plus 4 led the bench, showing the second unit didn't just hold the lead, they extended it. Brunson led the team in scoring, but he also stabilized the offense during shaky stretches. He wasn't just putting up shots, he was managing pace, handling pressure, and keeping everyone calm. Towns' scoring came in waves, but his rebounding never stopped. His defensive work, especially down the stretch, was a huge part of keeping Boston's runs contained. The Knicks didn't win this one with lights-out shooting. They did it with effort, balance, and timing. Their defense forced enough misses. Their rebounding created enough extra chances, and their stars stepped up when it counted. That 42-point second quarter gave them the separation, but everything after that was about discipline. They finished the night with 33 made shots on 23 assists, 70% assisted. That speaks to how they trust the system. Even when individual shots weren't falling, the team kept moving the ball. They stayed aggressive on the glass. They converted their free throws. This was a game where every piece mattered. From Shamet's 1 3-pointer to Hart's 14 rebounds, from Kolek's 4 assists to Towns' 4 made threes, the Knicks pulled it all together to get a second straight win to start the season. And while Brunson and Towns will get the headline, the numbers show this win came from everywhere. When Karl-Anthony Towns had a strong game, the Knicks didn't just play better, they statistically jumped into a different tier, starting with his season baseline, 24.4 points, 12.8 rebounds, and a little over 3 assists per game on 52.6% shooting and 42% from 3. That's already solid, but when he went above that line, especially in scoring and rebounding, things got very real for the Knicks. Take games where Towns logged more than 24 points and 15 rebounds. There weren't a ton of those, but the Knicks almost always came out on top. The January 1st game against Utah, 31 points, 21 rebounds, 12 assists, win. December 19th versus his old team, 32 points, 20 rebound, another win. When he passed that 15 rebound mark, the Knicks got crucial second chance opportunities that led to easy buckets. You could literally see the statistical shift. They were grabbing more defensive boards, closing out possessions, and running their offense earlier in the clock. Now the numbers start stacking. Towns' true shooting percentage was 63%. That's elite. But in his above average games, his TS percent often climbed closer to the high 60s. That extra efficiency didn't just pad the box score. It pushed the Knicks' offensive rating higher than their already impressive 117.3 season average. You can feel that difference. He took fewer bad shots, got to the line more, and knocked down shots from all over the floor. And when his rebounds jumped past the 12.8 average, suddenly the Knicks' paint scoring went up. That's not speculation, it's pattern. That January 1st game wasn't just a fluke. The extra boards led to more touches in the lane, more offensive resets, and more control of tempo. They weren't getting bullied down low. Towns cleaned the glass and gave them breathing room. His advanced analytics tell an even more detailed story. His box creation was 6.5 per 100 possessions. That means he generated 6 to 7 open looks every 100 possessions. And when he was rolling, those numbers nudged up even more. He wasn't just scoring, he was pulling defenders and giving shooters space. The Knicks' spacing dramatically improved on those nights. Guys like Brunson and Bridges found easier paths because Towns bent the defense. His offensive load hovered around 40%, which is already intense, Pute, but when he hit those peak games, he still maintained sustainable shot quality, 79.6 to be exact. So not only was he taking on more responsibility, he was still finding good looks. Let's not forget his value metrics. A QWARP of 6.47 and a VORP of 3.5 prove his season-long impact was significant. But in the games where he went above the baseline, that impact doubled. The Knicks didn't just play better. They got real separation in the standings because of those moments. The team finished 51-31 overall, and when you line up the win column with Towns' big nights, it's hard not to see the connection. In fact, during the playoffs, he dropped 35 points and 12 rebounds in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks won that game. It was one of their highest offensive outputs of the postseason. Coincidence? Not if you've looked at his offensive plus-minus numbers. His offensive drip was 2.5, defensive drip 1.3. His offensive BPM was 3.5. Those are big-time metrics that place him in the upper tier of all NBA players, and those numbers weren't static. They spiked during his better games, leading to better team-wide offensive outcomes. Now, his impact wasn't just in raw numbers or shooting percentages. The Knicks' offensive floor, the lowest level of performance they could hit, was higher when Towns had it going. That's something you feel in the team's spacing and rhythm. He had a playmaking rating of 3.5, and while that's moderate, it jumped in triple-double games like December 9th and March 26th. He wasn't just crashing boards or putting up jumpers. He was moving the ball, keeping it alive, and setting up looks all over the court. Even his defensive plus-minus stayed in the positive range. His DBPM was 0.1. And while that's not lighting the world on fire, it wasn't dragging the team down either. When he posted strong rebounding nights, the defense had fewer second-chance breakdowns. He gave the Knicks more possession control and more time to set their schemes. That's how they stayed in the top half of the league defensively, 13th in defensive rating, despite some inconsistent team defense. Let's also talk about versatility. Towns scored from everywhere. A three-point attempt rate of over 27% shows he wasn't just camping in the paint. He drew bigs out of the lane, and that had a measurable effect. It opened driving lanes, forced switches, and tilted the court. His portability metric, 8.4, confirms it. That's the ability to fit into different lineups without losing value. And when he had a good game, the Knicks could run small, go big, or throw in hybrid lineups and still score efficiently. And the Knicks capitalized. Their fifth-ranked offense got those extra boosts when Towns was in rhythm. Even when his shot attempts didn't skyrocket, his efficiency did. That balance meant the team didn't stall out in the half court. It's why they could win grinded-out games as well as shootout. That's not narrative. That's straight up tied to his offensive DARCO of 2.1 and an overall plus-minus of 2.7. These are the kinds of numbers that swing games without highlight reel plays. He had a defensive DARCO of 0.42, which shows he didn't become a liability even when matched up against quicker opponents. When Towns locked in, the Knicks team defense held stronger, especially in stretches where he stayed out of foul trouble, and his cumulative impact stayed high, even late in the 8th season. When the offense dipped post-All-Star break, his best nights still aligned with team wins. There was a clear dependence on his elevated performances. When he was subpar, the team's offensive rating took a hit. So while the Knicks didn't win every single game, where Towns posted 20 points and 15 rebounds, those games were overwhelmingly successful. It wasn't just one category either. He didn't need 35 points to make an impact. Sometimes it was 22 points, 17 rebounds, and high efficiency that did the trick. He consistently created space, gave his team second chances, and anchored the scoring load when needed. His versatility score of 5 backs that up. That's not just a jack-of-all-trades rating. It's evidence he was a valuable puzzle piece in multiple configurations. And his offensive gravity, how much attention he pulled from the defense, showed up every time his box creation went up. With more defenders pulled in, it left Knicks shooters with more open looks, which is why you'd often see other players' numbers climb alongside his. Towns had 72 games played, which means this wasn't a tiny sample size. And while he didn't put up 20 and 15 every night, the Knicks' performance when he did was markedly better. Their pace quickened, their turnover rates improved, and their shot quality increased. Even when the shots didn't fall, the numbers say the offense operated more smoothly and with better balance when Towns was on. Look, the advanced metrics don't lie. QWARP, VORP, DRIP, DARCO. BPM. They all tell the same story. When Towns went off, the Knicks thrived. His impact wasn't just volume, it was efficiency, gravity, rebounding, spacing, and offensive control. And when all of that clicked, the Knicks didn't just look good, they statistically leveled up. But the same can be said about Jalen Brunson. When Jalen Brunson went off, the Knicks didn't just keep pace, they statistically surged. His season averages already set a high bar at 26 points, 7.3 assists, and 2.9 rebounds per game. That was over 65 games, meaning he wasn't just occasionally good, he was consistently reliable. But in games where he went above that already impressive average, the results were unmistakable. The Knicks became a whole different machine. Let's start with the obvious. That December 28th game against the Wizards, 55 points. That wasn't just his personal high, it shifted the entire rhythm of the offense. When a player scores 55 in regulation, he's carrying not only the scoring load, but he's warping the defense around him. That leads to open looks, better ball movement, and simplified reads for everyone else. The Knicks won that game with ease. Same thing happened on January 12th against Milwaukee. Brunson dropped 44 in under 29 minutes, and the Knicks ran them off the floor by 30, 4 points. That's not subtle. That's a blowout, fueled by hyper-efficient scoring. His field goal percentage for the season was already efficient for a lead guard, 48.8%, and he wasn't living at the rim either. 33.1% of his shots came from behind the arc, while still maintaining 37.3% free throw rate. That means he got downhill often enough to draw contact and still space the floor. When his scoring jumped past his season average, the Knicks' offensive rating climbed above their already top 5 status of 118.5. You could see it in the pace, spacing, and total point output. Now check the clutch stats. In late game situations, last 5 minutes, score within 5, Brunson averaged 5.6 points per game. He shot 51.5% in those moments, knocked down 84% from the line, and led the entire league in clutch field goals made with 52. In those 28 clutch games, the Knicks went 17-11. That's nearly a 60% win rate in games that could have gone either way. The common thread? Brunson delivering when it mattered. That's not just feel, it's quantifiable. His true shooting percentage on the season was 60.5. That includes a high number of self-created looks, since his shot quality metric sat at 71.1, which isn't low, but reflects difficulty. In games where he elevated that shooting efficiency, the Knicks weren't just scoring more, they were maximizing possessions. His ability to generate points out of chaos became a statistical edge. And don't ignore his assist number. Averaging over 7 per game, Brunson wasn't just looking for his own shots. When he went beyond that number, 10 or more assists, the Knicks' offense got even more efficient. He had a playmaking rating of 7.3 and a box creation number of 12.7, meaning he generated more than a dozen open looks per 100 possessions. That's elite territory. So in high assist games, not only was the scoring up, but spacing and ball movement jumped too. Brunson's offensive load was 57.1. That's a massive number. It means more than half of the Knicks' offensive sequences ran through him. And still, his offensive drip was 3.3 and his Darko score was 4.4. Those are top-tier numbers. In fact, those put him in the 92nd percentile for offensive impact. When he was having a big game, that already massive load turned into real-world scoring efficiency, not just volume. The Knicks weren't winning these games by accident. When Brunson scored above 30 or logged double-digit assists, the Knicks' net rating spiked. For reference, the team's net rating over the season was plus 4.2. That means they outscored opponents by just over 4 points per 100 possessions across the entire year. In the games where Brunson had a statistically strong performance, that margin was often in the double digits. The Milwaukee blowout, plus 34, that's not a small bump. That's the difference between surviving and dominating. Even Brunson's advanced value metrics back it up. His cumulative wins above replacement player, QWARP, was 6.08. His value over replacement player, or VORP, was 3.1. Those are not average numbers. That's near all NBA level output. And it wasn't just individual brilliance. The correlation between his peak games and team wins was strong. He didn't just pad his stats, he tipped the outcome. Let's talk offensive BPM. His overall box plus minus was 3.3, but his offensive BPM alone was 4.7. So in games where he shot better than his season average of 48.8, or scored over 30, or hit big shots late, the Knicks were scoring efficiently across the board. More importantly, his offensive BPM carried enough weight to neutralize his weaker defensive numbers. His defensive BPM was negative 1.3, and defensive Darko sat at negative 1.2. So even when he wasn't a defensive stopper, his offensive output covered the gap. Now the advanced stats don't just say he's good, they explain how the team functions when he's on. His offensive portability was 5.7, meaning he fit well with different lineup combinations. Whether paired with shooters, bigs, or slashers, his production held. And his versatility score of 33 reflected that he contributed in a variety of offensive roles. He wasn't locked into just one job. He could initiate, isolate, run pick and roll, or score off the ball. And when he had a big game, it meant the offense was flowing, not just funneling through him. He had 65 games played, so there were plenty of chances to track the difference. And while full win-loss splits in only his top output games weren't public, the games we know about, the Milwaukee win, the Washington explosion, and the 17 wins in 28 clutch contests show a clear statistical pattern. The better he played, the better they performed. There's no fluff there. That's the hard data. Even in games where he wasn't dropping 40, but instead dished out 10 or more assists with efficient shooting, the offense expanded. The floor spacing got wider. Weak side defenders hesitated more, and open threes came easier. You can't see that in a highlight reel, but you see it in shot quality, assist chains, and spacing maps. When Brunson had it going, the other four players didn't just benefit, they statistically performed better. He also drew fouls at a strong rate. That free throw rate of 37.3, that's not common for a 6'1" guard. It shows defenders struggled to contain him without fouling. And when he got to the line, he cashed in over 82% of the time. In games where he got to the stripe more than 8 or 9 times, the Knicks' offensive efficiency surged. Free throws stopped the clock, set your defense, and let your team reset. Those little margins add up, especially in close games. And Brunson tilted those margins. When you zoom out, Brunson was the engine for everything the Knicks did offensively. Whether scoring in isolation, running the offense, or hitting big shots late, he did it all. His offensive Darko and drip models place him as one of the top offensive guards in the entire league. He wasn't just running up numbers. He was converting them into wins, spacing, and rhythm. His plus-minus was plus 2.8 per 100 possessions overall. That's not just a guy getting stats. That's a player making the team better every time he's on the floor. And when he played at a higher level, the Knicks didn't just hang around, they stomped teams. The numbers prove it. Even during stretches where the Knicks struggled, Brunson's peak games kept them afloat. In back-to-back games with high usage and high efficiency, the Knicks often responded with bounce-back wins or scoring explosions. He became the statistical thermostat of the team. When he was hot, everyone got warmer. When he dropped under his average, the offense cooled, and the team leaned heavier on players like Karl-Anthony Towns to carry the load. You can try to nitpick with defensive limitations, but the net impact didn't lie. The Knicks' Stallm 5th-ranked offense lived on his creation, and the rhythm of that offense was dictated by how well he played. That's a statistical fact, not just narrative. Whether scoring 55 or dropping 10 dimes, when Brunson rose above his averages, the whole team climbed with him. Overall, though, 2 games into the season, the Knicks have shown something that goes beyond the box score. They've revealed an identity rooted in balance, resilience, and the ability to lean on multiple players to steer momentum. This isn't a team that needs everything to go right. They just need enough of the right things to go right at the right time. Tonight's win was another example of that exact formula. There were stretches where they didn't look great. They had shooting slumps, missed opportunities, and let Boston climb back into the game after building a dominant lead. But through it all, they stayed composed. That's where the shift in mentality is clear. In previous years, those kinds of lulls might have opened the door to a full collapse. But this version of the Knicks doesn't panic. They reset, rely on their structure, and let the game flow back to them. That's not a fluke. That's a sign of a team that understands how to win ugly, and more importantly, knows how to avoid turning short-term chaos into long-term trouble. The second quarter told the story. It didn't happen by accident. It happened because of a total team commitment to pace, effort, and control. Everyone locked in. Everyone hit their role. It wasn't just one hot shooter or one random bench spark. It was the entire group executing and staying on script. Even as the Celtics pushed back in the third, the Knicks responded. Not with panic, but with poise. It helped, of course, that 2 of their stars once again delivered when it mattered most. But it also mattered that the support pieces kept pressure on Boston in subtle but crucial ways. The rebounding battle wasn't just won, it was dominated. Possessions that should have been one and done for the Knicks turned into extended chances. Deflections became steals, and contested shots turned into fast breaks. And when second chance points started piling up, the scoreboard reflected that effort in ways no highlight ever could. The rhythm of this team looks different now. There's less hesitation, more trust. The ball moves without overthinking. The spacing adjusts fluidly depending on the matchup. When one player cools off, another steps in. And when the game gets tight, they don't look around, waiting for someone to take control. They already know who has it. That confidence in leadership and roles doesn't just happen. It's built through games like this. There's something to be said about a team that plays through its mistakes and still finds a way to impose its will. Tonight, even without lights-out shooting, the Knicks stayed in command. They didn't need to shoot 50% to win. They didn't need to rely on a one-man outburst or a fluky run of threes. They trusted their foundation: rebounding, defense, ball movement, and free throws. That's how sustainable teams win. It's also the way teams stack early season wins that matter later. A 2-0 start may not seem like a turning point, but the way they've done it, controlling tempo, staying locked in defensively, spreading the scoring load, those are the habits that pay off over 82 games. Every time they win while shooting poorly, they gain proof that they don't need everything to be perfect. And that's a dangerous kind of confidence to give a team this early. What stood out more than any individual performance was the way different players stepped up at different moments. Some had quieter nights statistically, but still made momentum plays. Others didn't shoot well, but rebounded with force or moved the ball with purpose. That kind of versatility creates matchup nightmares for opponents. No one is ever fully off the floor mentally. Everyone's engaged. Everyone's contributing in some way, whether the numbers show it or not. It also puts pressure on opponents to defend every angle. When the starters rest, the drop-off isn't catastrophic. When things get disjointed, there's structure to fall back on. The game doesn't slow to a crawl or devolve into hero ball. That's been a major shift for this group. The Knicks used to rely too heavily on streaks and stars. Now, they rely on execution. That's a much harder team to break. Even the miscues tonight didn't snowball. There were missed layups, cold shooting stretches, and stretches where the ball stuck a little too long. But the team didn't let any of it spiral. They made small adjustments, locked back in on defense, and got back to what worked. That kind of mid-game correction is often what separates early season contenders from teams that are still figuring it out. The Knicks look like they already know who they are. The bench deserves credit too, not for dazzling stat lines, but for sustaining effort. The energy didn't drop when the starters sat. The rebounding didn't vanish. The hustle didn't waver. That matters. When you don't need your stars to play 40 minutes just to survive a lead, you preserve energy and develop trust across the roster. It turns backups into difference makers and deepens your options for later in the season. There's also something to be said about how the team responds to physical play. Boston didn't roll over. They tested the Knicks with tempo, strength, and transition speed. But New York met that with rebounding, transition coverage, and enough physicality to hold ground. They didn't get bullied. They didn't get baited into bad decisions. They stayed locked into their schemes and didn't try to win the game in one possession. That kind of restraint is huge, especially when trying to close out a team that doesn't go away easily. 2-0 doesn't guarantee anything, but the details in those two wins say a lot. This team looks organized. They look ready. More importantly, they look like they expect to win. There's a level of accountability showing up in the small moments, boxing out, rotating, swinging the extra pass, that makes you think this group isn't playing for early momentum. They're playing for something bigger. The stars still have room to grow. The bench still has shots to knock down. But none of that diminishes what's already working. The Knicks are playing team first, pressure-heavy basketball with a system that doesn't collapse when things get tough. And that's the kind of structure that keeps you in the fight all season long. If this game proved anything, it's that the Knicks can win in more ways than one. Whether it's overwhelming a team with offense, grinding out extra possessions, or closing with smart, steady execution, this group has multiple paths to victory. And the more ways they can win, the harder they'll be to beat. So now, they're 2-0. No parade, no declaration. Just another win built on toughness, execution, and effort from top to bottom. If that becomes the theme of the season, then the Knicks aren't just winning. They're building something real. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll be posting every day. I genuinely appreciate if you could subscribe. Thanks for watching.